Also talk about Entrepreneurs Organization. It's a global organization that you started back in 1987. So how about we start right there? Tell us about how the EO came about and how it took wings to 60 countries now.
Scale ups are critical to our local and global economies. We're the ones that really drive all the innovation and all the new stuff that kind of keep things vibrant. So it's a real passion for us. But EO really got birthed the night that I hosted Steve Jobs for his first public speech after being fired from Apple. He had built his beautiful company to almost $2 billion, and then, the board kicked him out, and he kind of got in a funk. And we convinced him about a year later to kind of come out and tell his story. I gathered about 1,200 young entrepreneurs under 30 out in the Bonaventure Hotel in LA. And it was an amazing presentation that Steve shared about what it takes to really birth something, scale it, and then again, have like your baby ripped from your arms. And what surprised me is I thought he was just going to kind of fly in and tell the story and leave, but he stayed. I hosted an event for this ACE 100, top 100 entrepreneurs under 30, but he was standing alone by himself. And I remember turning to Greg Stem, the great treasure hunter, and he found like $500 million worth of treasure off the coast of Spain, just one of his many finds. And I said, look, it's okay to be independent. It was a phrase that my mentor, Joe Mancuso, had shared it. I said, look, it's okay to be independent, but no reason to be alone. And there needed to be an organization for the Steves of the world. And so it was that night. It was actually in 1986, the idea was birthed. Took us about a year to get the money raised and get the founding board together. I brought together about 22, successful entrepreneurs to get the thing launched. And so our official launch date was 1987. And it was a fun event in the Bahamas where we got everybody together, and the rest is history. Launched an executive program then in 91 in partnership with MIT and Inc. magazine, and that's still going on today. They still let the old man come back and teach. I'll be there May 19th with our next, finally, new class launching after post the pandemic. And the graduates of that have a program every year called Gathering of Titans, and they just finished that up over this last weekend. So EO, today, 16,000 members, on the way to 160,000. They invited me to their strategic presentation, and the leadership of EO is really ready to 10X that organization. So there's going to be a lot less lonely entrepreneurs out there on the planet.
I think one of the impacts of EO has also been that it's birthed so many other copycat organizations, if you could call it that. Like in India, we have something called the Ascent Foundation, which is pretty much the exact same thing as EO. And I'm a member, and I've gained so much experience and so much information from that organization. And if it wasn't for EO, all these, I guess, copycat organizations would also not exist. So EO has had a pretty big impact across the world.
Yeah, it has. We're really, really proud of the difference it's making.
Yeah. And as they say, right, a founder's job is very lonely at the top. You can't really share a lot with your team members, the vulnerabilities, the problems that you're facing, because you don't want to demotivate them. But you need a group of people where you can share your troubles and sort of brainstorm a lot of these things. And that's where these organizations go a long way.